We're going to be working on your 1-point perspective city drawing. And the first step that you need to do is get your paper set up with your little road area in the middle and areas on each side for your buildings. And then you're going to need to establish your vanishing point. We're going to be using pieces of 8 by 10 paper for this. And I chose this size because it just is an easy way to get started with the tools that we have here in class. So we're going to use our ruler, and unfortunately though you can't see the entire paper at the same time, we're going to hold this up so that it is in the portrait orientation. So this is the 8-inch side and the 10-inch is here. And to get started, you're just simply going to put your ruler across the bottom, lining it up with the bottom edge of the paper, and then draw a nice light line right along the edge there. Okay. Then to make the center road part, you're just going to estimate. You don't need to measure here. You're just going to estimate the middle of the paper and then lay your ruler right down in what you think is about the center, and then simply run your pencil along each side of the ruler, and that's going to be the center section of your drawing. The vanishing point we're going to put down here at the bottom, right here in the center. So it kind of looks like an upside down T when you're done with it, with a dot right here in the middle. And I apologize for not being able to show the entire sheet of paper, but that's life and we're going to deal with it. But so it's at the bottom like this, dot in the center, and a road area up through the middle. After we're finished with the drawing, we're going to be cutting this section off. But it's just kind of handy to have your vanishing point not right down here on the very edge of the paper. Makes it a little bit easier to draw. And as we're working, you'll see what I mean by that. But just remember, this part where I'm making these diagonal lines, that's going to go away when we're done. We'll just cut that right off. So to get started, what you are going to do is make some buildings on each side of your center road. You don't really have to make them, terribly unique. So what you're going to do is just lightly sketch in, maybe like one toward the bottom, and then you could do another one different size and shape in the middle, and then another one up here at the top. And this is just to get you started, because you're going to be filling in a lot more interesting buildings and details as you go. But so what we want to do, and you'll notice that I'm doing that just freehand. Feel free to do it like that. If you feel more comfortable with a ruler, you can use a ruler to make those straighter. But I kind of like to draw them freehand because I feel like it gives them a little bit more of a dynamic feeling than if I just did it with a ruler. So on the other side, I'm going to put other buildings. As I go, obviously I'm going to be filling in some open areas, but this will just be a way to get things going. Okay, and then down here, another one, and I'm trying to vary them somewhat, understanding that most buildings are versions of rectangles and squares. So that's a good way just to get going. And then what I'm going to be doing is looking at the corners of each of these buildings. And this is where I'm going to be drawing my orthogonal lines. You may remember that the other kind of line in a perspective drawing is the transversal. So the transversals are your lines that are either horizontal or vertical. So in drawing the tops of the buildings, I've already done some of my transversals. Then I'm going to line my ruler up with the vanishing point and head up to one of the corners of my buildings, which is right here. Then I'm going to take my line down from the corner toward the vanishing point, but I'm going to stop when I get to that center section. Okay, let's try the next one. There's a point here, then I'm going to line up with my vanishing point here, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to stop when I get to the top of that building, because this building would kind of be in the way of that one. Here's another corner of the building in front of it, so I'll go from that corner down to the road. Okay. And again, from this corner to the vanishing point, stopping at the road. This one's a little bit awkward here at the end, but I'm going to be able to show just a tiny bit of that building. Right here, you're going to notice that this looks a little bit off, and that's because the bottom of this building is not going to go all the way to the street, because we need a transversal line here. The front of the building is this edge. That's where it touches the street. So I need a horizontal line that goes over and touches the orthogonal on the back side of the building. So then I can erase that one. I can do the same thing here, where this orthogonal touches the street. I'm going to come up and make a transversal line. So that's going to be as straight and perfectly horizontal as I can to come back that way. So then you can see where the bottom of that building lies. I'll finish this second building on the side before I let you get started. So today, what you're going to try to do is get your tops of your buildings in, and then start putting in your orthogonals. You need to use your artist eyes and your brain to figure out where your transversals are going to be, depending on your unique arrangement of buildings. Some of your transversal lines on the bottom will not show because they're going to be covered up by other buildings. Some of them will, but there's really no way of predicting accurately until you just get started and start connecting your orthogonal lines. I think this will become apparent to you as you start working, and I think you're really going to enjoy this process. Once you get the main buildings done, then we're going to start shading and really having some fun with this project. So more later.